I call Sewer William Seal.
Mr. Chairman, may I just briefly pay respects to two gentlemen that passed away earlier today, in which members of this House participated or attended their funerals. Firstly, Jerry Collins, who's an iconic son of P-Town, and of course Peter Conway, former representative of the Council of Trade Unions. Both of them quite passionate about this country of ours, and both of them lived life to the fullest, and I want to join with others just simply to pay respects to them. Mr. Chairman, this bill here only has 4 clauses and it only also received 5 submissions from the public.
Good bill.
And the first clause that the government is asking us to debate, no one made any submission towards the title page. And I think it might be fitting if the government moved a motion at some stage for us to debate the whole piece of legislation as one. And I hate doing that, but it just seems like we're having to try and fix up the mistakes of this government time and time again. And so I just put that for the government to consider. I do want to say that in the people that made submissions on this bill, 3 of them were opposed to the bill in totality. One of them didn't show any indication one way or the other, and the other one was the Association of the Industry, who was in favour of the particular bill. But there was a submitter whom caught my attention, I think, because this submitter raised other issues which relate to the title clause, and her name is Tania Tangaroa. And she simply said, we're not happy that Shell Todd will possibly be granted another perpetual license to explore further wells and drills in an area that is inhabited by the last 55 Maui dolphins. So you could say, sir, that one potential title for this particular bill is it puts the 55 Maui dolphins at risk. And though the government here would only look at one side of the argument, would only look at the economics of this proposal, I think there's a much broader issue that the title about putting at risk the 55 Maui dolphins will broaden out to the other issues that are of concern to people. I say, sir, that the reason why no one made submission on the title clause is not only there were only 5, but I don't think that the public were given sufficient time to take note that this was coming through. I mean, this is about the 3rd or 4th time that the government have had to change the original act that they introduced in 2012. And the reason why the 5 people didn't make any submission on the title clause was they couldn't figure out whether the government was coming or going with the way that they've amended this particular bill over and over again. So I put to the committee, and I'd say to the Minister, that we should be debating the substantive clause, which is clause 4, because no one made any submission on clause 1, clause 2, clause 3. It was the substantive clause 4 that the submissions paid attention to, and which I think we need to debate significantly in the time that we've got to debate this particular clause. The title, the exclusive economic zone and continental shelf environmental effects transitional provisions amendment bill 2005, just a mouthful of that title should give some indication to our public what on earth does this mean. And often it causes suspicion if we're not clear about the way we write legislation, sir. It causes suspicion as what is the government trying to hide, because the title of the bill doesn't give clarity about what we're trying to do. And as my colleagues, Dr. Megan Woods has said, look, in essence, we've attempted to work with the government to help them right the wrongs and the mistakes they've made in this particular part of legislation. And so we've said, look, based on the amended change that the Select Committee made and brought back to this House, we're content to pass the legislation. But I have to say now, looking at that clause, the government in future needs to be clearer with what it intends to do, and the title of the... Mr. Chairman? Mr. Chairman?
Sir William Seal. I just remind the member, rules around repetition. We've heard this, I don't know how many times now.
Well, I'll just make it brief then. I'll just make it brief. All I'm saying is that the government prides itself in being open and transparent. Any government should pride itself. And one of the very first things that open and transparent governments ought to do is to be clear about their legislation. And the first thing they ought to do is be clear about the title. And the present title gives no indication to the general public, particularly those who are interested in what we do and who want to hold this government to account, gives no clearer indication as to what this bill does. So I would move that we, maybe I shouldn't move, I would suggest to the government that we debate the substantive clause, clause 4. Thank you.
Members, the question is that clause 1 stand part. All of that opinion will say aye. Those against, no. Clause 1 will stand part.
Point of order, Mr. Chair.
Tim McIntyre.
Thank you, Mr.